What was Coffee Guy's consequence? What did he have to give up for just a coffee? Hello people of the universe, it's me Lisa, and if you've been around on my channel for a while, you may remember that a couple years back I did a review on the Wonder Woman movie. I really loved the first Wonder Woman. It is one of my favorite superhero movies ever. I feel it was something needed for more female representation of superheroes. When Wonder Woman 1984 came out, I just wanted to sit down and film my thoughts on the movie. I actually took notes this time around because there are some things that I want to go into a little bit, and I know that with my brain, I tend to go off on tangents and lose my original thought process. And so this is just to kind of jog my memory and remember things that I want to bring up. Like my first review, I'm gonna try to avoid spoilers as much as possible. I will try to give spoiler warnings if I do end up revealing anything, because if you're like me, you don't like spoilers. It takes you out of the movie and it's very distracting, and I don't want to do that, so I'm gonna try to avoid it if possible. My overall thoughts on the movie, I think it was good. My first watch through, I was disappointed. I was watching with my family, and so it's a little bit more distracting than when you get to watch it just on your own without any distractions or anything like that. So for me, I was disappointed because I didn't see some of the subtle nuances that were presented throughout the film, specifically with character development and transformation. So after watching it a second time, and that was where I was paying a little bit more attention, I could catch some of the subtleties that were presented, and I honestly think that if I hadn't watched it the second time, I would have thought a lot less of the movie than I think of it now. I still think the first movie is better. Sequels usually aren't the greatest. I feel like it's a typical trend because with Wonder Woman, it was such an action-packed, emotionally stirring story that it's hard to try to recapture that and improve on it. I didn't cry in this one, which was a plus, I guess, in one way, but I just feel like I wasn't enraptured by the story. I wasn't pulled in as much because it was just a follow-up. And so when you set the standard so high, it's really easy to fall flat. I realize I hold it in high regard, and some people may disagree, and feel free to share your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below and let me know what you thought of the movie, the original versus 1984. This may be a controversial opinion as well, but the first scene, and I'm not going to go into detail, it has to do with Diana when she's a young child, and I honestly, as much as I enjoy it and I love the Amazons, it was one of my favorite things because I love mythology so much. You didn't need that scene in the film. Sorry. Don't think it provided enough substance to kind of perpetuate the lessons that she theoretically learned at that point in her life to how they kind of play a role as she is an adult. I mean, obviously the lessons you learn as a child shape you into the person you are as you age, but I don't think that makes a strong enough case to keep in the film, because I feel like you could have started off with when she is in a little bit of a spoiler, another action scene with some criminals. I think you could have started the film off with that versus when Diana was a child and just cut out the Amazons entirely. And as much as I would have been disappointed that they weren't included, I think it would have been more consistent with the storyline. However, I will say, if we're considering the past as a motivator for future rationale, I would say that they did a good job when you could see the pain that Diana felt from losing someone she cared about in the first film. There are scars there and they never really truly healed. It makes her seem more human. Apologies if you hear any noise in the background. I feel like there weren't really any plot twists or any surprises, and with that being said, it can be a benefit to making the storyline clearer, but it also makes the storyline lose a little bit of depth. And I think that one of the things that they were trying to get across, be careful what you wish for, because there's always a price and you don't always know what that price will be, and so sometimes it can cost you what matters most, and you don't realize that until you've already bit off more than you can chew. I would have loved if they could have gone more into some of the lore behind a little bit of spoiler. I'm really trying not to do spoilers, I'm sorry. An artifact mentioned in the movie But I feel like because the story was driven in this way, be careful what you wish for, it allows you to see the characters in a little bit more human way. And I know most of the characters are human, but it's so easy to get caught up in, oh, I want to be powerful, I want to be strong, but then you lose your essence of what makes you you. Truth, sacrifice, inner strength, these are all lessons and ideas that are very important to the story, and you can see that some of the characters struggle with it more so than others, but it allows you to see them in a more realistic light, because it's so easy to think, oh, this person has it so good, they're blah 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 blah, but it allows you to see what makes them them and why should we ask for more than what we have. And so I think that's kind of important to remember, especially now with the current state of the world. It's really hard for us to transition from what we used to have to what we are able to have now, and so it gives us an opportunity to be more appreciative of the good things in our lives. And I think that's something that they did portray in a good way, and I will give them props for that. I do have a couple of questions, and if there's anyone that knows a little bit more of the movie or has some type of explanation for me, I would definitely appreciate it. So if you're someone who does not want spoilers, skip ahead to this time and I should be done talking about this, but I do have some questions and hopefully someone can give me some answers. So a lot of the story has to do with wishes, and there is a character who plays a very minor role and he wishes for a coffee, but every wish has a consequence, and the consequence is whatever is most important to you. And so I want to know, what was Coffee Guy's consequence? What did he have to give up for just a coffee? Like, I don't understand, because it's something so insignificant, but at the same time, if you have to sacrifice your greatest thing for any wish, then how is that possible? And then how is Diana able to hear the wishes? She's flying over everything in the clouds and she hears all these people's wishes. Does she have supersonic hearing? Because I don't remember that in the first movie. Please refresh my memory, because I did not rewatch the movie before recording this, so I don't have the original in my mind. I just have 1984 in my mind, so I don't recall her being able to hear at least that well. So how is she able to hear all these people wishing? I don't understand. My last question, big spoiler. Why does Steve have to stay in someone else's body? Is it because he technically would be dead? Because I mean, I don't understand why they couldn't just bring his body back. Why he had to be in someone else's body versus Barbara is able to transform the way she does. So to me, that doesn't make any sense. I feel like they're both very significant wishes, but they're handled very differently. I don't get it. Those are all my questions. If you guys have any idea, any thoughts, comments, suggestions, what have you, leave them down below. I would love to know some type of rationale behind these things. Some of them are ridiculous, I understand that, but it's just humor me. Anyways, I think it's a good movie. It's definitely worth watching at least once if you have a couple hours. I know a lot of people have more time on their hands with everything going on, so hopefully you can sneak in a couple hours and watch it. Let me know what you guys think. Does it live up to the expectations of the first movie? In my opinion, I don't believe so. I feel like it was a little bit of a letdown, but I feel if you analyze it on its own and not look to the previous movie, it has enough ground. I have seen a lot of sequels that did a lot worse of a job compared to their original, and so I can't discredit it that much, but personally I just wasn't in love with it. It didn't resonate with me as much as the first movie did. It just was okay. I'm not saying that it's bad, because it's not, but these are just my thoughts on the matter. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and I wasn't just super rambly. If you like the video, feel free to give me a thumbs up to let me know. If you have any comments, suggestions, answers to my questions, leave them down below in the comments. And I think that is it for this video. So I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.